to each other. So in really good, important cues for Qigong, one is that we're moving from the center. So if you think about movements really coming from or originating from the lower dantian, this area, the hips and the waist. So when we move, even if we're moving our arms, just think about how our arms are connected to our torso, and it's really the torso moving that allows our limbs to flow from the middle and moving with relaxation. So once if you're new, looking at me and getting the mechanics down is important. But then once you kind of get it, the goal really is to be able to move through these postures and stretches and meditations with an ease. So you're filling up and you're drawing and pulling energy in and having it circulate optimally. And have fun, right? This is not something that it's a very serious in the practice in terms of creating good teachings, but there's a joyfulness and a lightness that should start coming out of this practice. So on that note, we'll have one hand on the lower abdomen. This is Willie Nelson, our mascot. She might come dancing through the screen once in a while. One hand on the lower abdomen, the other hand on top. And let's just relax the shoulders down away from the ears. So what we're doing here is aligning, right, our physical body, which is always in the present moment, right, our physicality, but our mind is often daydreaming, right, ping-ponging between past and future, thoughts coming up that have to do with past or future. And what we're trying to do is align our mind or consciousness with the present moment. And by linking the mind to the physical body, it is a fantastic way to be able to do that. Because it's in this, we only have this moment, and this is the moment where the chi is. So let's start by slowing the breath down. Just inhaling, feeling the belly swell out on the inhale, and then in the exhale, feel it pull back in towards the spine. So starting with the breath, starting just to notice how we're breathing. And then starting to create some intention with the breath. Slow, deep, but relaxed breathing. Just feel the belly. As the diaphragm is able to descend on the inhale, the belly will push out. And then as the diaphragm rises back up, the belly pulls back in towards the spine. And we start with the breath because that's our quickest source of energy. And then we start to change the breath in a very intentional way to help start clearing the mind, create space. And then from here, we usually start with some spine opening exercises. The first called knocking on the door of life. So this is a movement where we really get to feel moving from the center. So you're going to start turning from the hips and the waist, right to left. The arms will start just knocking across the lower abdomen and the lower back. And I say knocking because you do want a little knock, right? Because we're using this almost like an acupressure type of situation. So we're starting to activate points and areas of where energy tends to concentrate, and we're starting to mobilize it. So we're knocking across the lower abdomen. So my arms are nice, like almost like Raggedy Ann arms, nice and loose. They're just flowing. The movement of the arms, again, if I wasn't really thinking about it, moving from the hips and the waist, the arms will naturally swing back and forth. So you're just kind of giving that a little bit more emphasis, knocking on the lower abdomen and the lower back. And the door of life is this area right at the base of the spine, kind of below where the kidneys are. And that's a major energy point, energy center. So we're helping to activate it, mobilize it, and then come up just below the collarbone. And then all the way to the top of the shoulders. So this here, we're releasing tension, right? We're knocking across the top of the shoulders. That's an area that tends to get all bunchy and crunchy. We start to release energy that was stored in that contracted muscle. Is freed up and it gets to circulate. And then back down below the collarbone. And back down to the waist. And then from here, we'll just start to unwind. So slowing down. Okay. So this next one is called spinal cord breathing. So it does involve us bringing the hands up by the head and looking up, if that feels accessible. And then on the exhale, we curl forward. So it's just a little inhale, like you're opening up the chest and the front of the shoulder. And then exhale, curling the spine forward, the chin tucking down, and the elbows come close together here. So we inhale and unfurl, look up. We're opening up the front of the spine. And then on the exhale, think about tucking your tailbone down as the chin tucks down. So you get a nice elongation all the way from the sacrum to the base of the neck. So we're just going back and forth. Nice and slow. That's the other thing with Qigong and in Tai Chi, right? These movements, there are some that will go a little bit quicker, but most of the flows towards the end of class, we really want to go slow, right? Giving the body an opportunity to open, to release. And it's also information. A lot of times what I hear is, oh, I didn't realize I had so much tightness in this one area of the body. And the slower we go, right, in the full range of motion, we get to notice those areas. And we start to work with releasing tension, opening that space. If this doesn't feel good on shoulders, you can have the arms down a little bit. You're still moving back and forth, right? If there's a shoulder injury and you can't raise them as high, you can still curl the spine forward and the chin tucked down, and then just have the hands come up more like at the level of the shoulders and then forward. Because this is really a spinal exercise. Even though we're bringing our arms up and opening the shoulders, it's really about curling the spine forward. And then inhale and opening up the front of the spine. So this very gentle, slight back bend. So just back and forth. Just keep going at your own pace for one moment. Also exceptionally calming for the nervous system, moving in very rhythmic patterns. And then drop the arms down. And then we are going to open up the legs a little bit. Another important cue, if I did not already say this, most of the postures and movements, we want the feet to be about outer hip distance apart. For a few things will be wider or more narrow, but for the majority of time, this is a time when the legs are wider. And you're going to either keep your hands on your thighs and be more upright, or you can bring the torso a little bit closer to the ground. And we're going to start shifting the weight from the left foot to the right foot so that the body starts moving laterally. And what we're doing here is opening the spine laterally. So we first did rotation with knocking on the door of life, then we did flexion and extension with spinal cord breathing. This is lateral flexion, so the spine's moving laterally. And as we shift the weight, right, from the base first, then we get that lateral roll from the bottom all the way up to the base of the head, base of the neck. And then continue to breathe. So I'm moving here, inhaling in one direction and exhaling in the other. Nice and soft. This is just a way of, it is a little bit of a leg strengthening exercise, but it is a way of releasing tension through the spine, through the muscles that flank and hold the spine upright. And let's come to the center for a moment. And either grab one wrist with the opposite hand and stretch up, or if you have a shoulder issue, you can keep your hands on your waist. Either way, we're going to come forward with a flat back. Keep a little bend in your knees towards the earth. And let your head be nice and loosey-goosey so that you're getting a nice stretch through the back of the neck. And then we're going to start to roll up nice and slow, vertebrae by vertebrae. Either keep your hands on your waist if you have a shoulder issue, or as you come all the way up, you're going to keep one wrist held with the opposite hand and stretch up. So either of those two, coming forward on the exhale with a flat back and then rolling the spine all the way back up. So opening up the entire back side of the body here. The bladder channel, the kidney channel. And then as we inhale, we're stretching the stomach meridian, the spleen. Two different variations. Nice and slow. Right? Challenge ourselves to go even slower, because when we start checking out or the mind starts wandering, if you notice, just catch yourself in the moment, you probably are going faster. You're speeding up. Everyone does it, me included, right? When we start to drift off, the next thing you know, we're, going 5 times as fast as we were. So the slower we go, it takes a lot more concentration and attention. So constantly bringing our mind back to the present moment. One last time. Exhale. Okay, let's bring the feet back to a neutral position. And let's do a little clearing. So this actually should feel really good for the shoulders. So if you can come all the way up to about shoulder height here, that's fine. If they only come up halfway, that's fine. It's called clearing because we inhale at the center and then we drop and turn. And then inhale back to the center and then drop and turn to the opposite side. And we start building a little bit of pumping action here. So we inhale at the center and we're straight, and then bend and straighten the knees, bend and straighten. So think about swinging the arms right to left, opening up the space between the shoulders, between the shoulder blades. And then we're clearing any tension, any stress, any anxiety. Think about tossing like a little ball. The ball of stress, we're just tossing off. Just keep going. So this is one where we're actually going a little bit faster. Clearing exercises tend to be a little bit quicker because we want to stir up and clear out energy so that when we go into the slower movements, we have more space. We have more space to bring energy in. It's hard to do that if the cup is full and it's at its max. And usually with all kinds of energy that we don't necessarily want to be holding on to. So it's an opportunity of just clearing that out. Like a little spring cleaning internally or for our energy. And then start to slow down. So your heart might be a little bit faster. That's okay. We just generated a little bit of heat, which helps to, as I say, like steam clean inside. And now we'll do a nice gentle stretch for the head, neck, and shoulders. So we're going to start, keep the knees slightly bent, and your palms going to face forward. And then we're just going to stretch the arms in front of us like we're gathering in, and then straighten up the spine as you bring the hands in towards you. And then the fingers stretch down towards the floor. So we start with the palms facing forward. Inhale, gather, draw in, and then spiral the hands down so the fingers are stretching towards the earth. So we inhale and then exhale. So even just stretching, the shoulders are pressing down, the fingers are stretching towards the earth. Even that, we're getting a nice gentle stretch to the shoulders. So inhale and exhale. Tuck the chin down slightly as we exhale here, because you should feel a little extra stretch through the back of the neck here. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Now this one, we are going to keep the arms extended towards the earth. So the shoulders are moving away from the ears. Fingers are reaching down towards the earth. Just let your head tilt over now to your left. I'm mirroring you, hopefully. So you should feel a nice stretch, the back side of the lower arms all the way up into the shoulder and the neck. And then very gently, just inhale, let your head roll towards the back of your left shoulder as you look up towards the sky, very gently. And then gently let your head just roll across that shoulder so that you're looking down on the exhale. So nice and slow, we're just going to roll our head backwards and forwards. Just using the movement, gravity gently pulling on your head to create this lovely but gentle stretch for the shoulder and neck. Exhaling any tension away. Now at the bottom of your next exhale, just let your head come all the way forward. So your chin's towards your chest. And then let's move over now. So our head's tilting over to the right, pressing the shoulders down away from the ears, fingers towards the earth. And then again, inhaling gently, head rolls back. And then exhale, the head rolls forward. And then let your head come all the way forward. Let your arms relax. Bring your head upright. So now we'll do something similar, but instead of having stretching the fingers down with the palms facing the back of the room, we're going to go in the reverse direction. So what that means is we start this time with the palms facing the back of the room, knees nice and gently bent, and then gather behind you. So bring the arms behind you, spiral the hands in and then down. So your palms should end up facing forward. We'll do that a couple more times. So inhale, gather, spiral the hands in and then down on the exhale. So we're stretching. Is it similar but different? That change in arm positioning here. We're stretching now more the inside of the arms up into the front of the neck. And then one more. This time at the bottom of the exhale, let's keep our fingers pointing towards the earth. So palms forward. Let your head again tilt over first to the left. And then again on the inhale, just gently letting your head roll to the back of the shoulder and then exhale to the front. So we're stretching all the arm yin meridians here. The inside of the arm, the heart, pericardium, the lung channel. And then let your head come all the way forward. Let's move over now to the right shoulder. Pressing those fingers towards the earth. Inhale, look up. Exhale, forward. And on the next exhalation, just let your head come all the way forward. One last time, drop the arms down, pick your head upright. All right, let's shake everything out. So we're going to go into the second half of classes where we go into these slow flowing meditative movements. So now let's do our shaking. So bouncing the knees, shaking out the wrists and the elbows, the shoulders. Just sending this vibration through the body. Really great at clearing stress. If you have any wrist issues, you can try shaking with the palms facing down and then facing up. Shoulder issues also, maybe a little bit more emphasis on the exhale downward. So you can either go faster in smaller little bursts here or really big movements. Think about releasing the shoulder, creating movement and blood flow by just shaking it out. And then start to slow down. Okay, so now we have primed ourselves for our flows here. So if you're new, getting the movement down, of course, but then once you kind of get it, then I'm going to cue you into trying to move with relaxation. When we're, we can move more tensely. That's going to eat up more energy. So the more that we start to work and move with almost like a flowing quality, there's an effortlessness that starts to fill us, and that is really healing and It feels really good. So we are going to start with Buddha. Nope, we're going to do something else because of let's do open the flow. So open the flow, the arms are nice and relaxed. We're going to inhale, the arms will float up as far as feels good for you. If you can come all the way up to about shoulder level, my elbows are relaxed here. So I don't have perfectly straight arms. There is a bounce here. And then exhale, they float back down, all the way back down. Full exhalation. Then a nice full inhalation. Just imagine that you have maybe this little puppeteer above you that has these little strings attached to your wrists. And he's just he, she, they are pulling up on those strings as we inhale. And then they're relaxing the strings down as arms start to come back down. So if you have to make this movement a little smaller, you don't have to come all the way up to the shoulders, but use your breath. Imagine that your breath is allowing your arms just to float up. And then your exhale is allowing those arms to float back down. And feeling the space around you. If the mind starts to go, slow the breath down, slow the movement down. Realign your consciousness, your mind to the present moment. A big part of this practice is just that. It's learning how to harness our attention. With our modern day life, everyone and everything is vying for our attention. Our attention is one of our most precious things. So the more, and we're losing it, we're losing our ability to pay attention. So this is a really great way of relearning or practicing holding attention for a sustained period of time. And what are we holding our attention on? This moment, your body, your breathing. If the mind starts to wander, which it does for everyone, as soon as you realize it, try not to judge it, just realign. So we're cultivating our ability to pay attention in a very intentional way and creating alchemy. So saying in Qigong also, where the mind goes, energy follows. So if we're practicing our attention on what? On our body, on our breathing in this moment, energy is going to be pulled in and circulated better rather than being scattered. We're consolidating here. Now exhale, bring your hands down. Let's hold our chi ball. So holding the palms about 6 or 8 inches apart from one another. Close your eyes. Just place your awareness on that space between your palms. And then very slowly pull your hands apart, very gently and slowly, just a few inches. And then on the exhale, let them come back towards one another. It's just getting a sense of the space, and that there's almost like a certain quality. It feels a little bit more magnetic. And then drop the arm down. Okay, here we're going to go into cloudy hands. So we're going to start with your arms and embrace the tree. If you have to come a little bit lower, right? But we want to feel that we're pretty aligned. Aligned with what? Aligned with gravity. So knees are a little bit bent, tailbone stretching down towards the earth, Slight bend in the knees and feeling that earth beneath your feet. Simultaneously, feel your spine growing a little longer and your head extending up towards the universe, the sky above. And we're just holding this posture for a few moments. If it needs to be a little bit lower, that's totally fine. But we want to relax the shoulders down. So if you find that your shoulders are creeping up towards your ears, relax them down. Have some ease through the arms, relaxation through the wrist and the fingertips. Now you're going to keep your left hand where it is, drop the right hand down towards the earth. So the top hand is facing your heart. This is cloudy hands. It's a flow that has to do with the fire element, which has a huge connection to the heart and pericardium. Okay, so your left hand is up top, right hand is in the bottom. We're going to shift the weight over to your left leg. So shifting the weight first, then you're going to turn your body over to the left. Now we're going to swap positions of the hands. So the right hand now comes up. So your hand's facing your heart. Your left hand is facing the floor. Shift the weight to the back foot. And then turn now and rotate over to the right. So those three cues, right? We shift the hand position. So one's always facing your heart, the top arm, top hand, and the bottom hand's facing the earth. We shift the weight to the opposite foot over to the left now, and then we rotate over. So just think the arms change position. We shift the weight, then we rotate. And then we start creating a little bit of smoothness throughout those three transitions. So we're rotating over, and just as the hands are changing position, I'm starting to transfer the weight to the back foot. So there is a seamlessness throughout the movement, almost like a dance. Keeping the arms nice and loose and relaxed. Think about the arms floating through space like clouds. The breath is nice and soft and it's guiding the movement. So inhale and then exhale as we rotate. So maybe think about inhaling at the shifting of the hands and then exhale, gliding over to the left, gliding over to the right. And your shoulders can be nice and relaxed. So your arms don't have to be very high up. Just feeling space between the palm and the heart above. And that lower hand, as we're moving over to the right, is trailing behind. Imagine that it's just tracing over the surface of water. Like the top hand is the cloud, the bottom hand is like the shadow of the cloud, just a little bit behind, right, over the surface of water. Helping to nourish the heart, that water creating a nice balance between fire and water. Just relaxing into the flow. Just imagine that you're moving like you're moving through water. Feeling the space around you. Maybe there's a thicker quality, like you're moving more through honey or something that has a little bit more of a yummy, gooey quality. And we're just soaking up energy through the movement, through moving slowly, through breathing and our attention. And then come to the center. Let's hold our chi ball again. And let's drop the arms down. Just feel, just check in. Feel what's happening inside, how you're feeling. Now we'll go into flying, and we'll do a slight variation that includes a little balance, which is always good for us. So the arms are nice and loose. You're going to inhale this time. The arms will float up laterally, coming up just below shoulder height, and then exhale down. If that doesn't feel right, then you go to see. Inhale to see where, if you're like, that's really my maximum, that's fine. We want to create micro challenges. We don't want to be introducing pain. So just feel what's right for you and breathe. Inhale nice and slowly, arms float up, elbows are nice and relaxed, and then exhale down. Now we'll add in a little balance here, if this feels good. So as the arms float up, you're going to transfer the weight over to your left foot, come to the toes of your right, and if it feels good, you're going to lift that right knee up just a bit. And then as we exhale, the arms come down, you're going to tap down with the right toes to the ball of the foot and then down to the heel. So nice and slowly transfer the weight to the right foot. Inhale, the left knee rises up. And then as we start to exhale, the arms start to float back down. We tap down with the left toes, then roll to the ball of the foot and the heel. It's challenging to go slow. If you stumble or you have to come, that is good. That means we're giving ourselves these micro challenges. It is in information, right? Oh, okay. See, like where my proprioception maybe isn't great, or I feel like a little bit more unstable here. You can keep the toes more touching the ground if that feels a little more stable for you, or you can pick your knee up. But going slowly helps to engage those muscles that are very stabilizing and are very important, especially as we get older. And then working with this right and the left leg comes up and the right, really good for our brains. So we're moving slowly, good for our energy. We're giving ourselves micro challenge of balancing and moving slowly, good for those smaller muscles, our proprioception, our ability to balance and maintain lightness within that challenge. And inhale. Exhale. Feeling the stability of that standing leg pushing into the earth, just like in Bamboo in the Wind, that posture that we do at the end of class, right? We're feeling so stable in that standing leg that there's a lightness that just flows through that lifted knee. And then we come back down. So we're pressing down just as much as we're lifting. Let's do one more to each side. And we're also practicing trust in ourselves. Now come back to the center, and then we'll just do a few flying movements, just the arms now. Inhale, float up. Exhale down. And with each inhale, feeling spaciousness. And on the exhale, feeling peace. And last one, inhale. All right, let's exhale back down to the center. And we'll finish with pulling down the skies. So we're going to inhale the arms either out and all the way around and up, and then exhale the center, down the center. You can also do it more towards the center if there's a shoulder impingement, maybe at an angle so you're not going all the way up. But we're gathering and pulling everything into the center. Or you can also bring one hand as high as it can go, the other one can come up, and we're still pulling everything into the center. That's if you have any shoulder issues. Otherwise, inhale all the way up and exhale down. And last exhalation, let your hands come to the lower abdomen. Let's bring the feet close together, and we'll finish off in Bamboo in the Wind. So feeling those roots extending down through the soles of the feet, the crown of the head's reaching up, feeling really stable with those soles of the feet pushing into the earth. And then just feeling and noticing how the body starts to make these micro adjustments. Coming back to the center. And then when you're ready, you can crack your eyes open. Thank you, everyone.